some people don't know that the third episode of I Love Lucy, The Seance, featured a Ouija board. It's a great episode. And in that episode, basically they ask Lucy, do you Ouija? She takes it totally differently, as you can imagine. And so that gets pretty funny. Scary show, Dennis the Menace. There was an episode of The Raffle, used the Ouija board. 13 Ghosts. How many people saw the original 13 Ghosts? How many people think it's the best movie ever? It's horrible. It is the most horrible movie ever. It's fantastic for the time. It's mega cheese, and the acting is just completely over the top. It's like watching a soap opera. You know, when the music comes out, they look up. It's fantastic. But William Andrew Fuld and his family decide they need 1960 to find a new way to advertise. So they work with the producers of Columbia Films to use the Ouija board in the film. Because again, what people will see is you can't use the Ouija board or any product without permission. And how people got around that was if the Fulds wouldn't give permission or they just didn't want to pay, what they would do is they would use what they call ask the glass. So they would put these cards around with letters and numbers and put a glass backwards, put your finger on it, and move it to the thing. So a lot of people say, well, that was older, that came before. You know, we actually don't have a whole lot of proof that it came before, but it was a great way to get around getting permission. So they worked with the producers of 13 Ghosts and they used it, and it did great. The movie used some interesting technology so that it looked 3D-ish, and the movie didn't do so well in the theaters, but it sold a lot of Ouija boards, and I'm sure that's all William Fuld cared about. So Parker Brothers. So there's an interesting fact. William Fuld on his deathbed to his son William Andrew Fuld said, never sell the Ouija board. And they didn't, right? So 1927 to 1966. In 1966, the family had gotten older. People weren't as interested in keeping the business. They got an incredible offer from Parker Brothers, another family business, and decided to sell. What is a little interesting, though, that people have pointed out to me, which I didn't see originally, was that Parker Brothers purchased the board on February 24th, 1966, which was the anniversary of William Fuld's death. So that was kind of an interesting fact, that the family must have known that, I'm thinking, and sold it on that date. And maybe that was a little tip of the hat to him. In 1967, the Ouija board did something no other game did ever in history. It sold more than Monopoly. So when Parker Brothers took it, it was everywhere. In fact, there were articles in colleges saying that the Ouija board was selling better than the Bible. That was a problem. In fact, actually, in interviewing Kathy told me that one of the interesting things is that early on, his wife was a Catholic. And so they were getting flack for selling the Ouija board. So he went and met with the priest and said basically, you know, what's the problem? And they asked him, do you believe this talks to the dead or talks to spirits? And he was, no, it's just a game, it's just entertainment. It's like, well, then it's fine as long as that's what you believe. And if you make a donation, and so he did regularly. And you know, once